The greatest trick the devil ever pulled wasn't convincing the world he didn't exist. It was convincing humanity to willingly surrender its freedom for convenience. And in the year 1999, a fresh-faced Elon Musk would play his part in this grand deception underneath the neon glow of Silicon Valley. What began as a simple online payment system would metastasize into something far more sinister, the foundation of a global financial prison. This is the untold story of PayPal. Before the world knew him as a meme-loving billionaire, Elon Musk was just another ambitious fraudster peddling empty promises. His company XCOM wasn't created to help people. It was designed from day one as the prototype for financial tyranny. The clues were always there, hidden in plain sight. The name itself, X.com, a cold, impersonal symbol representing the mathematical elimination of human economic sovereignty. This wasn't banking. This was programming society for submission. And who better to architect this digital enslavement than a man raised by technocratic royalty? Elon's grandfather, Joshua Haldeman, didn't just flirt with Technocracy Incorporated. He was a high priest of this anti-human ideology. The same movement that openly called for replacing elected governments with computer-run dictatorships. The same movement that dreamed of a cashless society where disobedience meant starvation. But here's what they don't teach you in history class. Technocracy never died. It simply rebranded. By the 1970s, the movement's elite operatives had slithered into new institutions, most notably the Trilateral Commission, that shadowy council of bankers, politicians, and corporate titans obsessed with managing global capitalism. The Commission's founding manifesto even parroted Technocracy's core dogma, that democracy was ungovernable, that nations were obsolete, and that only a cabal of experts could properly steer humanity. Sound familiar? It should. This is the exact blueprint Elon and his PayPal cohorts followed, eliminating cash, centralizing financial power, and replacing national sovereignty with the rule of unaccountable tech oligarchs. The Trilateral Commission's fingerprints are all over the digital prison we're building today. Their members champion the very policies that made PayPal's rise possible. The globalization of finance, erosion of privacy laws, and the systematic dismantling of physical currency. David Rockefeller himself, the Commission's godfather, openly bragged about manipulating world events to achieve this vision. Coincidence or confession? When you peel back the Silicon Valley hype, PayPal wasn't disruptive innovation. It was the Trilateral Commission's wet dream disguised as a startup. When Musk launched X.com in 1999, he didn't just have venture capital backing him. He had generations of elitist programming coursing through his veins. This wasn't innovation. This was destiny. The official story claims PayPal was born when X.com merged with Confinity in 2000. But mergers require consent. What happened here was an ambush. Peter Thiel, Max Levchin, and their cabal of data vampires saw in Musk something valuable. A useful idiot with a famous last name and a talent for selling dystopia as progress. Together, they would create something far more dangerous than either company alone. If Elon Musk was PayPal's smiling face, Peter Thiel was its blackened soul. A man whose entire career reads like a dystopian instruction manual. Before PayPal, Thiel co-founded Palantir, a CIA-backed data mining firm that would later arm governments with predictive policing tools to target Americans and activists alike. This wasn't just business, it was beta testing for the social credit system. Thiel's philosophy is naked in its contempt for humanity. He has bankrolled operations to destroy journalism, funded exploration into human immortality for the elite, and openly praised China's dictatorship as more functional than America's own burgeoning version. When he took over PayPal after Musk's ouster, he didn't just run a company, he refined the algorithms of financial manipulation, the freezing accounts of political dissidents, Thiel's innovation, shadow banning transactions for undesirable services, Thiel's playbook. The man didn't just want your money, he wanted a world where your bank balance could be revoked like a wrong think tweet. Then there's Max Levchin, PayPal's Ukrainian-born CTO whose past reeks of Eastern European espionage. Levchin didn't just grow up in Soviet Kiev during the Cold War. He was molded by it. His first company, Net Meridian Software, operated in the exact data tracking space that Soviet intelligence agencies had prioritized for decades. By the time he co-founded Confinity, PayPal's predecessor, Levchin had already patented encryption systems that would later become the backbone of government surveillance programs. This was no accident. Levchin's real genius wasn't coding. It was designing systems that appeared consumer-friendly while functioning as spyware. PayPal's early fraud detection algorithms, a dry run for mass behavioral tracking, the company's obsession with trust scores, a precursor to social credit. While Musk played the visionary, Levchin quietly built the cage, one line of code at a time. Together, Thiel and Levchin represented the perfect fusion of ideological malice and technical execution. Thiel provided the blueprint for totalitarian capitalism, a world where banks replaced secret police. Levchin engineered the tools to make it operational, and Musk? He brought the cult of personality needed to sell this nightmare as progress. This wasn't a merger, it was the founding of a digital cartel, one that would birth the surveillance state we live under today. Behind closed doors, they weren't building a payment processor. They were constructing the first truly global system for financial censorship. A dry run for the social credit nightmare we see unfolding before our very eyes. History records that Musk was ousted as PayPal's CEO in 2000 while on his honeymoon. The media spun this as a failure. The truth? It was the greatest con of his career. By allowing himself to be fired, Elon accomplished three things. First, he dodged accountability for the company's inevitable privacy violations. Second, he positioned himself as the underdog, a narrative he'd weaponized for decades. And third, most crucially, he disappeared into the shadows while PayPal's real architects implemented policies too controversial for even his shameless grin. PayPal's fraud prevention systems didn't just target scammers. They became a weapon against anyone challenging the establishment. Take the case of WikiLeaks in 2010. When the organization began exposing U.S. war crimes, PayPal, under intense government pressure, abruptly froze their account, cutting off a vital funding pipeline. Not for violations, not for fraud, but for truth-telling. Julian Assange referred to it as economic censorship, but it was far worse, a trial run for deplatforming dissent. Then came the Backpage purge. When the U.S. government wanted to dismantle the classifieds site, allegedly for sex trafficking. Court documents later revealed its real crime was exposing elite clientele. PayPal was first to pull the plug. No trial, no due process, just financial execution. The result? A precedent allowing payment processors to act as judge, jury, and executioner. But perhaps most chilling was PayPal's 2015 blacklisting of alternative health vendors. Companies selling colloidal silver or ivermectin found accounts frozen overnight, not for illegal activity, but for challenging Big Pharma's monopoly. One entrepreneur, Rick Jorgensen of Plasma Fire, had his $287,000 balance seized without explanation. When he sued, PayPal's lawyers cited their right to terminate any account for any reason. This wasn't protection, This was predation. They call themselves the PayPal Mafia, like it's some cute Silicon Valley inside joke. But look at what these men have built. Thiel, the architect of Palantir's mass surveillance apparatus. Reid Hoffman, the LinkedIn data miner turned Democratic Party puppet master. Even Elon's replacement at PayPal went on to help design China's social credit system. This isn't coincidence. This is colonization. Every time you hear a politician talk about digital currencies, every time you see another small business deplatformed from payment systems, every time some bureaucrat suggests cash is for criminals, you are witnessing the PayPal playbook executed to perfection. The same people, the same tactics, just with different logos. Elon Musk doesn't just want to own the electric car market or dominate space travel. He wants to own the very concept of value itself. Look at his recent moves, pushing crypto scams one year, then tanking the market the next, praising China's digital yuan while pretending to care about free speech. This isn't inconsistency, it's strategy. When PayPal, under pressure from hedge fund activist Rabbi Daniel Loeb, major Pornhub owner through MindGeek's investors, abruptly banned hundreds of adult performers, it wasn't about morality, it was about control. Overnight, sex workers like Lena Paul and Small Hands saw their livelihoods destroyed. With PayPal seizing funds for violating terms they'd followed for years. The message? Even legal, consensual work can be erased with one corporate whim. From far-right Stormfront to anarchist collectives like CrimeThink, PayPal's bans proved they'll silence any threat to the establishment. When any fascist journalist Ian Higgins and Esha Krishnaswamy had accounts frozen for reporting on police violence, it revealed the truth. This isn't about politics, it's about eliminating financial sovereignty for anyone outside corporate-approved narratives. Australian scientists Dr. Phillip Altman and Kara Thomas learned the hard way that challenging approved narratives carries a price. The pair published studies questioning pharmaceutical efficacy. Shortly after, their PayPal accounts used for academic donations were terminated without warning. No appeals, no explanations. Just the quiet click of a digital jail cell locking shut. The endgame is clear. A world where your bank account is tied to your social media score. Where buying the wrong book triggers an automatic lockdown of your finances. Where every transaction requires approval from some unaccountable algorithm, or worse, from Elon himself. They've already tested this hellscape in China. They're rolling it out across Europe. And if we don't wake up, America will sleepwalk into the same nightmare, with a grinning South African oligarch as its chief jailer. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making you believe you had a choice. That PayPal was just an app. That Elon is just an eccentric billionaire. That cashless society is about efficiency rather than control. Open your eyes. The prison is being built around you, one innovation at a time. And the man holding the blueprints is the same one laughing at you on Twitter. Next time, how SpaceX is really about controlling orbital space, and who gave Elon the keys.